We're going to begin the lecture. We start with a vow and the recitation of the four great vows. So please join your palms together and bow. I vow to deliver innumerable sentient beings of self-nature. I vow to cut off endless vexations of self-nature. I vow to master limitless approaches to Dharma, self-nature. I vow to attain supreme Buddhahood of self-nature. Today's class, I'm going to go back to the Astasasrika Sutra. It's a sutra that I had been teaching in Michigan and other places, but in Michigan they got a very heavy dose of the first 2 pages of the Astasasrika Sutra. This is the sutra of 8,000 lines. And this sutra was the first Mahayana sutra. It came in around 100 to 200 BCE, translated into Chinese in 200 CE, and was picked up by Nagarjuna, and he wrote a treatise on the perfection of the paramitas out of that, because this sutra really emphasizes the six paramitas in a manner in which these paramitas are demonstrated. And it's a little bit different when we talk about demonstrated versus just simply practiced. We bring ourselves in accord with mind and demonstrate in our body, speech, and mind the realization of these paramitas, and by continually bearing them in mind and demonstrating them, bringing them into body, speech, and mind, there becomes a perfection in the mind. When I talk about perfection in the mind, it's a bit of a misnomer, because it's not a perfection of the mind, it's just the realization that the mind is already perfect. There's so many places I can go with this lecture, and we'll see how it works in terms of this, because when we talk about this, we have to also bear in mind there's a balance between what sometimes I'll say on one side, it's always prajna on one side. On the other side, it'll be referred to as dhyana, or it could be referred to as samadhi. It could be referred to as concentration. And if you study these, there's a real potential that a person can misunderstand what these terms are, from dhyana to samadhi to concentration and samapati. And all of those, from Nagarjuna's point of view in practicing this, are subsumed into the word dhyana. And so for me, I'm going to use this word dhyana, understanding that this word means practice, but it also means that all of these other aspects of it are subsumed into that. So you have concentration, you have samadhi, and you have samapati. But when you read this, and that's why I had said earlier in an article on the Sutra of Perfect Enlightenment, go and consult different sources and see if there's a consensus of what these terms mean. And what you'll find is that there's no consensus, but everybody will pontificate about what they think that these are. Some of the people that are doing it are simply copycats of what they've read, and then those scholars pick it up and carry it forward. I would say the vast majority, not all, but the vast majority, don't know what they're talking about. Excuse me for that, for those people who wrote that. But unless they have had some form of an experience, a realization, it's hard to speak about terms such as samapati, because it's not something that is practiced. It's a realization by mind of mind. and it's not something that is conceptual or conceivable, but strikes at the very essence of what the Asta Sutra is trying to get to. And you'll see the difference where when you see the Asta Sutra and its orientation and its separation from the school of Theravadan, where when you look at the school of Theravadan, you see I have something a little bit of a different orientation as to um, how these terms are used and what's the purpose of them. So, in talking about, for instance, samapati, the term samapati, the Theravadins call it an ecstatic state of mental quiescence achieved through concentration meditation. Um, Attainments related to deep states of meditation integral to the path towards enlightenment, the attainment of meditative absorption, which can be associated with both material and immaterial worlds, um, to a meditative attainment or realization where consciousness can be suspended. None of these definitions really, even on the Theravadan side, are can you say really are what it means. But if that's what's being presented from different sources, from and I what I was reading from was the Vinaya, the discourse on Pratika Samapada, a manual on Abhidharma as well. So these are not just scholar references, but the ones who are translating it and trying to interpret it are missing something there. But then again, the Mahayanas were looking at and going, yes, but really is the purpose of doing this to achieve some kind of a nirvana. And it's certainly not what the first one, an ecstatic state of mind. This cheapens it so much. It's like don't we have a drug that can do that? I think they actually call it ecstasy. It's not a drug. It's not a state of mind. So we have to be careful. This is very important for us. We have to be careful with these terms because when we run into people or we maintain a dialogue with people, we have to be able to understand and explain these. They're not so easy as it is. Now, in this very same part on the significance of samapati, the definitions were uh, hold on, let me see if I can find it. Also known as absorptions are, again, here it was is erroneous, meditative states that a bodhisattva must penetrate through. And it's not meditative states, it's just this process of progression of understanding in terms of it. So it says in Mahayana, it signifies a meditative balance between concentration and wisdom. Again, here they're using this term concentration, and I've had discussions with people, and they talk about concentration, and I realize when they're talking about concentration, they're talking about not just concentration, but samadhi as well, including samapati, but they lump it in to the front end of concentration. So the concentration is simply allowing the mind to come to a rest, a quiet state, a quiescence that we have. But this is where it all begins. It's like somebody who's practicing a martial art and gets to the level of a black belt. A black belt is actually one who is now through the door and now beginning. And the other one is going up trying to get to a door. But it's different. Um, so we start there because that's important. I noticed in the sutra, the platform sutra, it refers to it as let me see. I believe it referred to it as prajna, and give me a second, and dhyana. But and then they talk about samadhi prajna as well in there, but this prajna and dhyana, which is probably a more careful way of saying it, but then they're distinguishing dhyana from samadhi. And so when you read it, this is from the Platform Sutra, and this was a, a commentary, a response to this bhikshu Fahwai, Fahai, and so he was asked about this, and they say, what mind is, Buddha is. The patriarch replied, because he wanted to know the meaning of what mind is, Buddha is. So the patriarch says, to let not a passing thought rise up is mind. To let not the coming thought be annihilated is Buddha. To manifest all kinds of phenomena is mind. To be free from all forms is Buddha. If I was going to give you a full explanation of this, Huineng said, it could take a whole kalpa. And so here I'm trying to explain all this to you in the course of an hour. And he's saying, he needs a whole kalpa of time to explain everything. This is how deep this is, but it's important for us to understand this at this level in terms of practicing. So he said, please listen to my stanza. Prajna is what mind is. Samadhi is what Buddha is. So it's very interesting. So there's this wisdom, and this wisdom is in why I call this mind work, is because we're looking into how mind works. This is what mind is, and the other part is, what are we doing here? If we understand everything's created by the mind, then we have to back it all up, reverse engineer it, and say, then what are we doing in this place? We're going to get the answers from the Asta Sutra in a moment, but that's very important to understand it. What is Buddha? If everything is mind, then what is Buddha? Very, very, very important. It's good stuff. In practicing prajna and samadhi, let each keep pace with the other. It means that, like in silent illumination, you want to have this samadhi and the illumination equal. The illumination is the wisdom. The samadhi that they refer to is actually dhyana, which everything is subsumed into concentration. And samadhi, samapati, they're all in dhyana. Then our thoughts will be pure. This teaching can be understood only through the habit of practice. Samadhi functions, but inherently it does not become. See, so there's a practice there, but there's no becoming anything. There's no becoming enlightened. The Orthodox teaching is to practice as well as samadhi. I have to back up for a moment because what I read was what Fahwai, his understanding was. And so then the Buddha said this. Oh, no, excuse me. I was right. Sorry, I switched this. But the bhikshu ended by saying, what mind is, Buddha is true indeed. It means no duality there. We cannot say the Buddha's consciousness, because if there was a Buddha's consciousness, wouldn't that be a duality? And we'll get to that in a moment when we look at this and say, well, does the Buddha have a consciousness? Or is that what mind is, Buddha is? So there's nothing there. There's no personality, ego, life, or being. And that's important for us to understand. But I humiliate myself by not understanding it. It's okay. It's very deep. Just hang in there with this. This is very good stuff. Now I know the principal cause of prajna and samadhi, both of which I shall practice to set me free from all forms. So we jump out of that, and now we go to, and if you can put that up, I think I started with condition production, or did I just put the first one that I had up? Said that. Okay, started from here. So this is the perfection of concentration, and it says, uh, those of great might who dwell in the four trances. So who dwell in the four trances. So what are these trances that they're talking about? Anybody know? You can put it in a note on the chat. Let me see if anybody wants to venture. Don't all jump at once. You're all probably typing at the same time, so it jammed up. Okay, the four trances are the jhanas. So this is something that is shared, with Theravadan, and we're talking about the jhanas, and but in any case, um, okay, only there was a little note here. The four jhanas, do not make them into a place to settle down into, nor into a home. And essentially, the four jhanas. Did I lose my video?
Yes.
I don't know how that happened. All right. Hold on a second. It says, please enable access.
I just asked
Yeah.
you to start the video. Maybe you could accept or something.
So I put start my video.
Mm-hmm.
This is where it's going to create a problem here. For some reason, my camera is, I have a more professional camera hooked up, but for some reason it's not connecting. Let me see if I go here. Web camera.
I'm gonna pause the let's see if I can pause the YouTube. I'm not sure if I can.
Yeah, there was something that appeared on my screen and I pressed it,
Mm-hmm.
and then
Would
it
you
went
like to
out.
leave and come back in? Would that be helpful?
I'm going to try to do this right now. I have a doomsday option I can do. Uh, let me try that one. I have on my screen, it says, do you want people to see you? You can still turn off your microphone. Continue camera allowed, continue allowed. But then I keep getting that white screen up there. If I say
So
continue without,
in Zoom at the bottom of your screen, there should be a video, and you should be able to turn it on.
yeah, I tried to turn it on. Now this one white note is preventing me from doing that.
Mm.
Like I say, continue without camera. Let me try that.
Okay, I think your camera there's something else that's not turned on. In Zoom, your camera is on, but what happened?
Yeah, that's a symbol for the camera that I have, but it's showing it's not working. And I'm showing I'm not connected with the camera now. I have to switch over camera as my doomsday option here.
Oh, there you are. There you are.
It's my doomsday option. It's the one from my laptop. So
It
the
looks
quality's
fine.
not as good.
Yeah.
And I hope I won't go dark when it gets dark. That's what happened last time.
Yes,
okay.
yes. Maybe
I
you can
definitely have a problem with my main camera. Okay, let's continue on. I'm sorry about that.
Okay, give me a moment.
I'm very sorry, but this is good stuff, so be patient. There we go. Okay, back to the 4 trances. So these 4 trances sometimes, actually, I got this out of an article on samadhi, and it's talking about the 4 rupa jhanas. So the rupa jhanas, rupa means form, meaning that it's connected some way with form, not of mind. And so when we have this kind of a rupa jhana, these are the first 4, and then there's 4 others, and the total are samapatis. They're known as samapatis, but the samapatis are the realizations coming out of those jhanas. The first 4 are practiced. The second 4 are experienced. But let's talk about the first 4 first. So these first 4 is that one becomes separated from desire of sensual pleasures, separated from unwholesome states. This means that one is beginning to meditate and enter into a state where these things are not driving the mind. All of a sudden, one understands that the practice is looking into the consciousness and seeing what is arising, but separating from it. And again, I could talk for hours on each one of these jhanas, so I'm just giving you a general overview for them. The second jhana is more of a continuous practice. Now, the first one, it's up and down, going in and out of the temptations of following desires or distractions. And then the second level of the jhanas, there is a more of a stabilization of the practice. And they say with a stilling, one enters upon and abides in the second jhana, which is mental piti, mental being joy, and sukha, born of samadhi. The third jhana is a jhana where a lot of people get to, and it's called piti. And I'm sure some of you have experienced this, where you begin to meditate and there is a quietness there, and you go into a happiness or joy and realize, hey, this is really a joy without an opposite to it, that there is a comfort in practicing in this way. I choose to stay in this meditative state, and because your concentration is stronger now, then the samadhi can enter. But along with the samadhi, you're also experiencing samapati, which is this a difference in terms of it. In the first 2, there's more of a I and me that's looking at it and trying to adjust it. as if you're trying to adjust um, a, a, an old-fashioned TV with the rabbit ears, and you're trying to get it controlled. And little by little, you're able to put those rabbit ears there. I know you guys probably go, what the heck is he talking about, rabbit ears? But there were antennas that you could move around, or you could play with an antenna to get the picture in. In the third one, it's like you don't need to do that. You sit back and you don't have to adjust anything anymore. And you just go, I can watch it without anything happening. Still an eye there though, you see. And so there's this happiness, which is the opposite of suffering, but you're choosing to remain in this happiness. So then the fourth jhana is a state of equanimity, or upika, of this state of equipoise, where everything is equal. There's nothing jumping out. You don't have to run and be happy, high-fiving the Buddha because you're so happy. It's just a very stabilized place. You're not looking for bliss. You're not looking for anything. You're not looking to take away anything. It is simply there. So these are the four trances that they're talking about. So they say, but don't make them into a place or settle down. Now that you can watch the TV good and you're watching, you don't have to be flipping the channel all the time and just watching comedies or whatever. Whatever's on is on. It's okay. But these four trances with their limbs will in turn become the basis for the attainment of the supreme unsurpassed enlightenment. This here, it's giving you the encouragement, saying this is going to stretch out. It's going to stretch out and let you know that it's going to become this basis for being able to attain the supreme or the unsurpassed enlightenment, meaning the realization. This enlightenment is the realization of what mind is by mind, not by you, but by mind. Mind realizing mind. That's why we talk about our group as mind work. There's no you in there. Okay. And it says, so we get to the next one, number 2, and it says, one who is established, go ahead, one who is established in the trances becomes one who obtains the foremost wisdom. So if you can get through to the state of equanimity, wisdom begins to come in. You're beginning to see this. There's a balance between the dhyana, between the practice of concentration, samadhi, and samapati, and this wisdom. And this wisdom is now converting in a very interesting way, in that it is not a worldly wisdom, but it is a wisdom of mind itself. It's no longer seeking to attach to anything there. It just simply mind naturally operating. This is very, very important. And so it says, and also when he experiences the foremost excelling formless trances, so when you're experiencing this, he makes these trances subservient to the best and foremost enlightenment. So it's very interesting because there's a switch there. It's turning the mind's eye inward. So remember, it's this turning the mind's eye inward, where all of a sudden the goal is not that you're going to stay there and work, but it's looking to this foremost enlightenment. And so what is this foremost enlightenment? And why would there be a distinction here? One of it is to distinguish between the Theravadan practice, everything is real, and that there is this, but the reality is this real mind that seeks to go back into peace, into nirvana. But they're saying that this best and foremost enlightenment, what are they referring to here? Anybody want to say? It's okay if you get it wrong. Don't worry. I see you guys. I read you. What's the difference here that's coming up? Santa, I'm going to put you on the spot.
Anuttara Samyak Sambodhi.
Which is this Anuttara Samyak Sambodhi. What's the difference between that and, let's say, Theravada? I'm feeding the answer to you.
It's not about personal liberation.
It's about compassion. It's about this foremost enlightenment is this mind compassion. It's going beyond metta into karuna in this interest. And this is important because this is the first time you're going to see this here, but not the last time. Okay, we can scroll up a bit, please. All right. But it is not for the extinction of outflows that a bodhisattva trains himself in these. See, so here we are. It's already coming up and saying it's not for you to get out of Dodge using the old Western thing. You got to get out of Dodge, because it's not wholesome for you. You might be penetrated, unfortunately, penetrated with a bunch of lead. It is not for you to get out of here. So it's saying it's not for you to stop these outflows. What are the outflows then? Why are they referring to it in this way? It is not for the extinction of outflows. Really look, think. What is it they're talking about? It's not for the extinction of the outflows that a bodhisattva trains. The extinction of the outflows is the bodhisattva leaves samsara, therefore no outflows. Right now, what I'm saying to you is outflows, is it not? It's literally flowing out of my mouth and flowing into your brain. So it's not to extinguish that. It's not to, or extinguish that. So let's stay with that. This is right from the very first Mahayana Sutra. You're seeing the Mahayana in its perfection. So it says, astonishing and wonderful is this accumulation of precious qualities. So they're saying, wow, this is something very amazing. This is the supreme, right? The unexcelled Dharma. This is this supreme wisdom from the Heart Sutra. Unexcelled, it's marvelous. What are these precious qualities? Compassion. It's compassion. And when they dwell in the trance and concentration, there is no sign. So then they pull it back and say, oh, they're coming back into samsara. They're not extinguishing their outflows. Those outflows are virtuous in a bodhisattva and their interest in awakening the slumbering Buddhas. But there's no sign. Even though a bodhisattva appears provisionally in the world, remember, they're not of the world. They're just appearing here for the benefit of slumbering Buddhas under the guise of an illusory sentient being. So when they say they have dwelled, it's actually non-dwelling. So even though a bodhisattva comes back into this world, and you as a bodhisattva in this world are a bodhisattva already, you've already come in, you just haven't awakened to your true nature. When you awaken to true nature, you want to share that with everyone. Not, hey, I'm a bodhisattva. No, hey, you have Buddha nature yourself. You're not going to keep it for yourself. You're not going to go somewhere else, pack your bags and leave. You want to share that because that's what this precious quality is of this perfect enlightenment. Not just an enlightenment to say I don't exist. When the personality of those who have stood therein breaks up, they are reborn again in the world of sense desire and where they had intended. This is an incredible statement here. This is so heavy with Dharma, so heavy with realizations. It's absolutely incredible. And you cannot just read this and then move on to the next line. You're not going to get it. Don't do that. Do what I'm doing here. So when the personality, okay, of those who have stood, so what means stood? It means those who have come into this world. They've stood. And but they've stood, meaning that they're not going to take it lying down. They're not going to take it sitting down. They're going to stand up. In this world, I chose to stand up. Standing up, I will come back again. So when the personality breaks up, meaning that what one understands either now during this world or when one dies, that personality of those who have stood breaks up, meaning that it breaks up because it's empty, as stated in the Heart Sutra. The five skandha are empty, and so there's no you there, no perception. They are reborn again. They come right back. They just finish the ride, as crazy as the ride could be, or as soft and peaceful as it could be, but they get back in line and they come right again. They are reborn again in the world of sense desire. This is here, sense desire. Um, and where they intended to go, they set their navigation system in this lifetime to come back again. And using this navigation system, cause and conditions never fail, this pratika samappada, they will come back into this world to do it again. Because they intended to come back. That is a bodhisattva. That's not somebody who is an enlightened being that then wants to leave here. It is somebody who has an interest in in delivering sentient beings, not dwelling here. They don't have an interest in dwelling here. No, I don't think I would want to dwell here. If I had to dwell somebody for the rest of eternity, it would not be on earth. No, the go-to would be Pure Land, but then I'm still stuck forever in Pure Land, or Nirvana or heaven or whatever. This is the job. This is where you work. No. The fruit is delivering all of these sentient beings. That's the paycheck. As some man from Jambu Vipa, who had in the past been a god, and Jambu Vipa, there's a lot of different definitions of this as to being different kinds of worlds and things. But one of them we could say is, for that definition, is a world or an island where humans reside, as gods can reside there too. So somebody who in this world has in the past been a god would, after reaching again the highest abodes of the god, see the apartments contained in them, and would then again come back and not make his home therein. Here it's saying that if you had reached the highest states of being a god, you don't come back for the food. You don't come back for the music or for whatever is there. There's a reason to come back. You're not coming back for, you could have, when I was a god, I had the greatest apartment. You would think they would own the whole apartment building, but maybe the space is tight in heaven. But they would have an apartment, say, hey, I want to stay here. No, even in God, that's not enough to attract the bodhisattva. Okay. Just so those bodhisattvas, bearers of the best quality, having dwelt in trance and concentration, yogins have exerted themselves, become again established in the sense world, come back here into this place, unstained as lotus in water. And you see this metaphor many times of a lotus in water, meaning that its roots are in the muck of the pond, but the flower blooms above it. And so even though it does that, it draws its substance from that, but it blooms wonderfully, independent of the dharmas of the fools, independent of the phenomena of the fools, where people are there and go, you gotta, I'll say, you gotta taste this filet mignon I have here. Here's a fork. Taste it. Taste it. It's wonderful. No, that was a living being. I'm trying to deliver these living beings. I don't want to deliver them into my belly. Except in order to mature beings, to purify the so they say become established here unstained as a lotus. So they come here and they exert themselves, um, to purify the Buddha field, to fulfill these perfections. The great souls do not strive after rebirth in the formless world. So it's very interesting because they're saying, I don't want to come back in a formless world. Like if you went to heaven, there's parts of heaven that are formless. They don't have bodies. But again, there's ghosts that don't have bodies either. So how would you know? But in any case, it's not something there. There's an interest that one wants to come back, not in a formless world where nothing can be done because you don't have a body, but you're coming back here specifically because you have a body to be able to communicate with people and to do things. So there's a bit of a distinction there between the four jhanas, the rupa jhanas and the arupa, which are formless, and they, although they're not separate, that one has to maintain this connection with the samsaric world in order to be of any use. You can't just simply go to nirvana and then say, I wish you all the best. Okay. Lest there be a loss of perfections and of qualities of enlightenment therein. So they're saying, you don't try to do that because there would be a loss. What happened to Gilbert? Oh, he went. He's gone now. Oh, he was such a good Dharma teacher, And you go, but he's gone now. He left us. And they'd say, oh, what a loss, because he was beginning to make some sense. Okay. Okay, can you move it up, please, to 7? Okay. So, yeah, go ahead and move it up. Oh, the 7 to the top, please. I know it's a little different. Okay, we can do it there. If you can zoom in a little bit, that would be good. Okay. It is as if some man having found a deposit of jewels would not generate a longing for his intelligence with regard to it. At some other time, he may acquire a few of them. And then we switch to the next page. Having taken hold of them, having entered his home, he would not be covetous for any more. Just so the wise bodhisattva who have gained the calm concentration of the four trances, which gives joy and ease, having let go the acquisition of joy and ease of trance and concentration, they enter again into the sensuous world, compassionate for all that lives. And again, here it's like saying, if you get all these jewels, the only reason you want to use them is to give them to other people. This I saw in the very first retreat I went to with Master Sheng, and I literally saw him in this vision that I had, where he had this bowl of M&Ms that was in front of him, and it was like a crystal bowl with the M&Ms in it, and he kept going like this to them, like touching them with the back of his finger and rolling them. They were the peanut ones, so they could roll, and he would roll them like this towards us, in the bowl, and just be smiling. And so when it came my time to talk, I said that I'm so appreciative because I saw Shifu in this way, where he had all these jewels before him, offering them freely to us, and that if we picked up one of the jewels, at least one or several more would appear in front of him. He would not have any desire for any acquiring of jewels for himself, but he would have all these jewels. You freely give them away. This is a rich man. When you're that rich, to just be giving your jewels away, just give them, give them, give them in this way. This is someone that's figured out what they're doing in this world. And that had a tremendous impact on me, because this is what I aspired in my practice, is to become someone like him, to offer these jewels to others. And essentially, so if you look at 8, they enter again, they don't hold on to the joy of the third jhana or the ease of the trance and concentration. You don't hold on to any of that. Sometimes you see people, they can get up to the state of equipoise, upeka, and they just sit there, but to me, I refer to that as old dog samadhi, where you just sit there and you're very comfortable, but you don't really get it. You're there. Maybe you're at the border of enlightenment. Maybe you just, decide that this is plenty enough, because your legs don't hurt, your mind doesn't hurt. Everything feels so comfortable, like an old dog lying in the grass on a very sunny spring day. No, but it isn't this way. That's what they're saying. Having let go of the acquisition of joy and ease, freedom and ease of body and mind, one doesn't sit there in meditation and seek it. One doesn't sit there and try to make sense and joy and have our environment, our external environment, um, uh, confirm our understanding of anything. Okay, so we go down a little bit to 9. All right, thank you. When a bodhisattva dwells in the concentration of the trances, he generates no longing for his intelligence, for the vehicle of arhats and pratyeka Buddha. So here, when it's saying he's dwelling in this concentration, means he's using this concentration in order to get to samadhi, to get to samapati, but he no longer is using intelligence. Here we could say it's kind of a reverse of intelligence, because the intelligence here is someone of that one could reach, let's say, the state of understanding Mahayana in a metaphysical way, but they still have not broken through. But he doesn't use that and say, I want to become an arhat or pratyeka Buddha. Pratyeka Buddha being one who has reached the state of a Buddha, but has not studied the Dharma, so has not generated this compassion. And so it's self one. It's kind of like the highest state. If same thing as being an arhat, or the Chinese alohan, that you go to the state of uh, of being a Buddha, but being a Buddha for your own self. Doesn't even make sense. For then he becomes unconcentrated in his thought, distracted and puffed up. So, you can be an arhat or a pratika Buddha, but there's still some kind of a self there. He has lost the qualities of a Buddha, a sailor who suffers a shipwreck. So if you're a sailor and your function is that you're going to sail the seas, you no longer have a ship to sail. You're just stuck. Maybe you're um, um, land grounded into nirvana, but you have lost this kind of a function here. So you have to move on. Although he applies himself to the five sense qualities, um, to form and sound, and likewise smell, taste, touch, when free from the vehicle of the arhats and pratika Buddhas, the joyous bodhisattva, and if you can move up a little bit, please, should a hero be wisely known as being constantly concentrated, meaning that there's no going back. There's just simply this continuous concentration in the practice. It's natural, because it is the natural state of a Buddha to be in this way, this natural concentration. Again, here concentration is pregnant with the word of samadhi and samapati as well. So when we see concentration, it's not concentration just simply uh, to just look at it. Okay, so we go from there. They have pure and courageous minds and are linked to other beings and persons. Think about this. Don't just read this and think, what is he talking about? They have pure and courageous minds. Okay, and then thank you, Renee. And they say, and are linked to other beings and persons. Did you miss that? And are linked. Does anybody want to know? Give an idea of what that means? Are linked to other beings and persons. This is important. It pops up here. It's very important. This is the Asta Sutra. To be linked to others is mind knowing mind. It's why a bodhisattva or a Buddha would know the mind of other sentient beings. Have you ever looked at somebody and know what they're thinking? Even knowing what a dog is thinking. When I had my pets, sometimes I used to know what they were thinking. And it's very interesting, but you're linked to all other beings, not just humans, but every single being. When they are practicing the excellent perfection of vigor. So here comes this word, the right effort. So this perfection of vigor. So they're coming up and they're telling you now, this is vigor, the right effort that we do. We have to stay. That's why they say if you have this continuous practice, it's the right vigor, not to push so hard, but always make sure that the mind is not backsliding. It's on the perfection of the paramitas. As a maidservant is submissive to her master, who is not subject to anyone else, so do the firmly wise submit to the subjection of all beings. So we submit to this subjection. Why? Because we want to deliver them. We don't deliver them by making ourselves look like we know it all and they don't know anything. But our purpose here as a bodhisattva is to serve those slumbering Buddhas. We're not coming in as some high and mighty. We're coming in and going, excuse me, but I think you're late for work. You need to wake up. It's time for you to wake up. Please wake up. Okay. The servant does not answer back to her master, even when abused and struck and beaten, exceedingly trembling in mind and overcome by fear. She thinks, surely he will kill me for that. Just so the bodhisattva who is sent out for the foremost enlightenment should behave towards the entire world as a true servant. So we practice patience, we practice generosity. These are the paramitas that are appearing here and saying, when the people are really mean towards us, one of the hardest things for me to overcome was to forgive everyone who's done things towards me and towards people that I know, that have taken something away from me, especially those who have taken from me in a way in which they shouldn't have, and unjustly. For those things that I've done that I deserve, I accept that and I understand it, but I also accept, when you say, surely he will surely kill me for that, knowing that somebody is persecuting you is not easy to forgive them. It's easy to forgive people that's in your family, but to do that, it's not easy. But this is our family as well. Thereupon he obtains enlightenment, and the fulfillment of the qualities takes place. And we need to go up. Fire which has arisen from the grass and sticks and burns them up. Having renounced a happy destiny for himself, practicing his duty towards other beings day and night, in his thoughts, free from hesitation, like a mother ministering to her only child, he abides in his resolute intention, unexhausted. It's just like Master Shu Yun's Foolish Man poem. No, why doesn't he just give up? Only when the last sentient being is delivered, then he will quit. And it is in this way that we see things. So we see the things in this way. Now, the term of like a mother, it is the mother that is presenting this to you now, the mother of the of wisdom, what's referred to in the Asta Sutra as the genetrix of all Buddhas. The creator of all Buddhas is the wisdom. And that's the mother that we do, the wisdom to know how mind works, the wisdom to know that all of these things are done in this way. Okay, finished up almost right on time. I still had another 5 hours, but I'll hold that for another time. But in any case, I'll take questions. And I didn't really get into completely all of the differences between samadhi and concentration and dhyana, but I wanted to give you at least a taste of that as we go along, because it's important for us to do that. So I'll take questions. Okay, Arvind.
Thank you for the lecture, Master.
Oh, you're gonna have to talk real loud because I have a problem with my.
Okay.
I got it up 100%.
Is my voice clear now?
A little bit better. Even if you yell, I wouldn't mind.
Okay. My question is, like Diamond Sutra says, like there is no self, being, life, or personality. So when we say bodhisattvas come back, what is really coming back?
Mind. Mind coming back and taking on a form or an appearance. Understanding that that form and appearance is an illusory dream, but that which is stuck in the dream is portions of the Buddha mind. But the Buddha mind comes back, and so it's the question is right where you should be right now. Indeed, what comes back, right? Because right from the very beginning, they're saying there's no difference in any of this. So, what does come back? So that's you have to contemplate that, based on what I've been saying. Okay, shloka.
Hi, Gilbert. Amitofu. Hi,
Amitopo.
everybody. This hour felt so short after the retreat. But I just wanted to ask you, so on mind work, you said right attitude, right effort, right view. What is the right attitude?
Well, our attitude is one that we don't think about ourselves as an ego, personality, life, or being, but that we um, connect with everyone. And the only way we can connect with everyone is by understanding and realizing that it is mind communicating with mind. When we have the right attitude, this is wisdom. So the wisdom is what controls or should control what we're doing. And the wisdom is what we use as the armta, the elixir of armta, or this uh, medicine that's needed um, by others so that they too can realize that there's not an idea of an ego or personality, but their true identity is the Buddha. And I think that's a pretty good selling point when you talk to people, because they'll say, well, who's the Buddha? Is that a big fat guy there, or whatever it is that they're saying? People are ignorant, but say, no, you are a Buddha. I am a Buddha. This is just this loving kindness, this compassionate person that has an interest in others, in relieving the suffering of others. What are they going to do? How are they going to argue with you about that? So we approach people in this way, you know, almost like an infomercial. Look at what you get, and if you're afraid of dying, you're guaranteed coming back and back and back again. Don't worry about it. So that Gilbert's lifetime guarantee. So you can approach people, but this is the what we should do. This is the attitude that we give people, that there is something for them. This is why Buddhism, and especially Mahayana, became very, very strong in China, because of the fact that this soteriological viewpoint of salvation was universal, and it was one that was emphasized greatly. The Pure Land School made a great inroad initially, simply because it was easy access. It was like you weren't trying to get tickets to a Taylor Swift concert. Um, you were just simply, you're in. It's like going to one of those cellular places, and they say, "Can I get in?" Yeah. How about my brother? Yeah, he's in too. My mother? Yeah. Everybody can get in. So it was something that was very much already fitting with um, the doctrines that were established in China already. But when the when Mahayana came to to the Chinese shores, that was actually probably across the mountains. It was something that really resonated with the Chinese. This is why my master was so firm in trying to maintain this Chinese Chan Buddhism, because it can be very complex, but on the other hand, it can be incredibly simple. It's a wonderful thing. We can go as complex as we want, and be as incredibly simple as we want. So this is the right attitude: is to seeing things just as they are. Desiree,
Hello, Master Gilbert.
hello.
Hello. I want to know, mind resting in mind, do we still need to sit for hours at a time to practice dhyana and concentration, or is it enough to come back to awareness again and again throughout the day?
Well, yes and no. You know, I can give you a hall pass if you want, so you don't have to sit so much. But they yes and no. Sitting is important, meditation is important, but not as important as some people make it believe. Some people make it believe that that if by virtue of you crossing your legs, you'll become enlightened or at least a better person. That's not true. It is the right effort, and that's there, that has to be there. And when we don't have this right effort or right viewpoint, it doesn't matter what you do. You can be sitting on the cushion just practicing your legs. On the other hand, in our daily life, it doesn't make any good if we're sitting meditating for half an hour a day, an hour a day, when we get up, right away we're already engaging in arguments or frustrated about this or that, whatever. So that doesn't help either. Everything is in this way. When Hui Ning was talking, because sometimes I read a translation um, of the same one we were talking about, of the Samadhi Prajna, and another one of the Platform Sutra. I think it was in Master Shen Hua's version. It talked about meditation and prajna. But meditation, again, everything else is subsumed into that word meditation, of concentration, of samadhi and samapati. Dhyana, all of those are there. Dhyana is just the right practice, the continuous practice, concentrations fed into that. All of these things are there. When you get off the cushion, now you're in the game. You were in the practice field when you cross your legs and were sitting there. Nothing's happening. It's easy to maintain the mind in the right way. When you get up, can you maintain the mind in the same way? That's very, very important. So when you can do that, then that's good. So you need both, but again, with the right view, that you're not simply sitting and going to become enlightened. It is knowing what you're doing in terms of how you sit. And let me see if I can find. I found something. I don't know if I can find it right away or not, but it was something very important with respect to this. I should have tabbed it, but essentially, what it's talking about is that when you sit, um, you have to sit with. Oh, hold on, do too many things at one time. Oh, I know. Well, I wanted to talk about this, but actually, this came in a part that I didn't talk about. Um, Sorry, it's taking me so long. This is one of the aimlessness samadhis. There's different kinds of samadhis. Emptiness samadhi, where one is sitting in an emptiness, one's aimless, signless samadhi. But in this aimless samadhi, it says as uncommittedness or wishlessness. So when you're sitting, you have no wish. I don't wish anything. There's a sublimeness that's there. If you see the Buddha statues, the really good Buddha statues and bodhisattvas, there's a sublimeness that's there. And it says, but what's important in this non-wishing or non-arising literally means placing nothing in front. So this term of aimlessness, wo zhou, do you know that term in Chinese? Wo zhou. Sorry for wu shou. But anyway, it is this non-arising or non-wishing. But when you say placing nothing in front, that really hit me quite amazing. So to Nagarjuna, aimlessness samadhi is a samadhi in which one does not search for any kind of an existence, letting go of aims or wishes regarding conditioned phenomena, and not producing the three poisons, greed, hatred, and ignorance, towards them in the future. So in this one, when we say putting nothing in front, when I say resting the mind in mind, there's nothing in front of it. There's no clouds there. The mind is simply resting in mind. There's nothing there that's in front, and that's important when you understand that. When you're coursing through the regular world, and then you go this way, and you placing nothing in front of anything, then it's different as well, because in that kind of meditation, the mind is very rested. There's no reaching out for anything, no duality at all. This kind of a practice, this type of aimless samadhi and the emptiness samadhi, coupled with sorry, I'm giving you guys the lecture I didn't finish. Signlessness samadhi, those bring you to the other four samapatis that are from the formless side. That's how you do it, is by maintaining this kind of a samadhi. But doing that, I would have to add another half hour or an hour more. So for a later class, I will talk about those. If you want to do extra homework, then look up samapati and look up these types of things, and you'll see it will help you. And you'll also be surprised how much differences there are in terms of what people see. To me, the last four samapatis are samapatis that are experienced. They're not practiced. And one can utilize the samadhis to have a realization of these samapatis that are there, this infinite space, infinite consciousness, infinite of emptiness, and the perception of non-perception. Very interesting, but they all fit together. They all can be experienced. It's very incredible. But if one tries to experience them on their own, it will not work. If you're trying to reach for something, they're not something that you can reach or practice or pull up from your memory banks. They happen automatically. That's the when one can maintain a continuous concentration in upeka, these things will, in and of themselves, appear naturally, not separate, but naturally as mind. And then somebody came out of them and wrote these all down, and then everybody's searching for them. So much for that. But at least there's that kind of a thing. But normally you experience those well before you ever read about it. Okay. I think Jake was first or Wendy. Jake go first.
Hi, Gilbert.
Hey.
I'm asking for a whole bowl of slop, but it is in the spirit of being able to answer this question, um, for somebody else. When we say that everything is created by the mind, it seems that there's sort of at least two things that this can mean. One is this idea of like if a tree falls in the forest and no one is around to hear it, does it really make a sound? Like we label things, and it's because I'm Jake, it's because I'm ignorant that I look at my meditation cushion and I say that's a cushion, but really that's an impermanent object. Um, and so this labeling is one way that sort of conceptions are created by the mind through ignorance. But a deeper idea would be that like all of the energy in the universe is created by the mind. And once sentient beings are liberated, samsara is sort of gone. Um, and those are two, maybe this is completely unanswerable, but I just don't know how to think about that phrase. Um, I just wanted to ask for your perspective on that.
You have everything correct, but totally backwards. If you think of what you said and work it backwards, that it is the energy of the mind that creates the consciousness, creates everything. So it is this right view that we understand mind is the creator. There is no separate consciousness, there isn't anything, but mind is so powerful it can create. But again, look at what you create when you go to sleep and you dream. Don't you dream and you're able to manufacture an entire world? Even if Godzilla shows up there, that's a pretty big monster that you fabricated, but nevertheless you fabricated it, right? That's mind. And we don't know how big this world is, and all we know it is an illusion. And it's, you can kind of look at it and see there's some things that are shared, karmic conditions, some that are unique to us in terms of what's happening. um, and we can break it all down, but ultimately it's just all created by the mind. So if you see things in this way, you see it a little bit different than that. But reverse everything that you said and have it emanating from mind. That's where the ignorance came. The ignorance is not of the self. The ignorance is of mind, mind's own ignorance. There's no you that was ignorant. You were created from ignorance. You were created from the slop that you were talking about. Okay?
Thank you, Gilbert.
Contemplate that. Okay, Wendy?
Oh, hello. Thank you. My question, well, I have two questions, so maybe start with one. You were saying anyway, the meaning is all added to what's, so I read a poem. It says, a wild flower on the side of the road. Nobody noticed it, but it's just blooming. However, its existence already gives the meaning of its existence. It doesn't need anything to define it, beautiful or not, or you don't need to say, oh, it's dandelion need to be, brighter or taller. It just the way it is. It just exists. I'm just thinking. I'm trying to, sit in the meditation retreat to try to achieve something that got my blood pressure all high up and try to achieve. But really, there is, like you said, there's like the dandelion's life doesn't need anybody to define it. Anything to need. I'm just trying to understand all this together, and And also because I went to retreats and my high blood pressure is so high now, I don't dare to go because it's just dangerous for my existence. So
Do you have a blood pressure machine at your home?
yeah, I do.
All right. Do this with your blood pressure machine. Check
Yeah.
it 3 times each time you do it. Don't check it once.
Okay.
Sit and don't have any thoughts.
Okay.
So check it 3 times. Each
Okay.
time try to apply not having any thought at all. No thought. You know, when you have no thought, you can drop your number 10 to 15 points or more.
True. Yes.
You
I
have
absolutely
but you
agree.
have to have no thought,
Mm,
and your number will go down. I do that every day. That's
mm,
part of my practice, is to check my blood pressure and drop it down. So for the resting part, and you can do that. But if you have thoughts, if your mind sways, then the numbers will go up. You'll be very surprised, but this will help you to drop down your blood pressure because you're self-regulating, and
mm,
it helps you keep the mind trained on having no thoughts. Just rest the mind in the mind. Try that. You know, your blood pressure should not go up when you go to a retreat. It should be going down
mm,
instead. So I will help you with that. But go ahead and try that and
mm.
see if that works. And you can private message me, and I'll be glad to help you. But you'll be surprised how much it can drop uh, with that, because now you're learning how to act during the day, not in sitting in meditation, but just be mindful of what your mind is perceiving. But if you have thoughts, you'll see that the number's going to go up.
Mm.
Okay, so
Thank you.
just you can sit uh, with Wu Nian. We say Wu Nian, but Wu Nian is not that you have no thoughts, but you don't attach to the thoughts, so they just slide by. You'll be
Mm.
fine after that. Just try
Thank you.
that and get a report.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Write them down. Write down your numbers. That way you see if there's any progress with it. It's a
Okay.
very good process of trying to drop your blood pressure. Okay.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you so
All
much.
right. You take care. Okay, Renee.
Thank you very much, Gilbert. Your wonderful teaching tonight. And I have a question, wish you could help. Actually, this question is from my Dharma sister. She asked, like Buddhism talks about cause and effect, but in this life, a lot of cause and effect is having no way to be seen immediately. If this cause and effect appears in the next life, that person taking the consequence fundamentally just isn't the current me anymore. Then what does that have to do with me? So just let that person take the consequence then. Why do I need to care about this life? I don't know how to answer the best
Wait,
way.
it's not hard for me. We first start with that there is no I, there is no past you, there's no future you. It is all mind. When we see it in this way, there's no transmigration of souls. Okay. Um, Even if we talk about past lives, there really wasn't a you back then that's coming now here, even though it appears that way. It's appearance, it's a dream, because you are ultimately a dream. Your consciousness is a dream. Mind is the perception of non-perception. There's no consciousness in it. It is just a universal perception of all knowing without anything else that's there. And so when you see it in the correct way, then it makes sense. But if you see it as a break where there's a life and then there's another life and then there's another life, then you go, well, why am I paying? I've been a good person this lifetime. Why am I paying for what happened in the past? but it's all just currents in the ocean. And I wanted to be, I don't know if I can do this or not, but just a clarification that this is not going to show up on the thing, I'm afraid. Let's see. You see, that's why sometimes people say there's waves on the ocean like this, you know, but the waves, they belong to the really belong to the mind. There's actually no appearance, but from lifetime after lifetime, this, oh, let me get this right. This here is the ocean. The ocean is never stirred. It's nature is stillness, but within it appear to be these currents that you could call your self, but they're not really self. It's just a continuation of a current, but there's never been any disturbance at all. It's imaginary. When you see it this way, it's different than seeing it and saying, oh, this is you going up and down here. That's yours. There's no you, so that doesn't make any sense. The mind is perfect, perfect. And it just has these appearances that look like you, an individual, lifetime after lifetime, up and down and up and down, but it isn't. It is just mind that's doing it, but the mind is perfectly clear. What's happening below is just these dream waves, these little waves of information, but there's no substance to it. It's like if you saw on a TV that was a wonderful apple you wanted to eat, you cannot reach in and grab the apple and eat it like that in our real life dream. But in a dream, you could do that. No, you can do anything. But the thing is that stuck in this particular dream, you follow certain laws. The law of pratika samappada, of cause and effect, that is something that is mind itself, how mind works. So it wants to constantly be equalizing those waves, but those waves are not real. They're underneath, if you could use a very loose analogy, underneath the surface of the mind, they're just a reflection on, let's say you could even use it as a reflection on the mind surface, but there's no true substance to it because it's made of mind. This is how you need to talk to your friend, to slowly bring her to a realization that everything's created by the mind. So the only thing she can do is just practice now. This goes back to the analogy that the Buddha used. I've been using it more and more these days. Is that if one has been shot by an arrow, one shouldn't be worried about who shot the arrow, but one should be worried about how am I going to get better? How am I going to get this arrow out of my chest? And how am I going to stop the bleeding and cure the wound? This is what's most important. So we don't worry too much about that. We understand this is cause and effect, but we have to look forward in terms of practicing in a way that moves away from wondering, why me? Okay. So anyway, hopefully that helps. Okay, I've kind of gone over time a little bit, not too bad. Actually, I'm surprised this particular one, given a little bit of a glitch in there, finished in a good time. So I'm very happy to present this to you, and I hope that you can understand. Again, these terms, I really request you do self-study about concentration, samadhi, dhyana, and samapatti, all of these terms, to do that and find out for yourself. Don't let other people define those for you or an interpreter define them, because they're much more complex. Yes, Santa.
There's a question in the chat. Would you like to take it, Gilbert?
All right.
It's from Zavion Kirkland. Master, this is a little off of the subject. I have a few questions. My questions are, should we be compassionate of even the most deluded of beings? Should we love even the most deluded beings? Also, Master, I want to be a monk one day, but want to give my family the proper financial foundation before I leave. Is it spiritually right to invest in any area of the stock market when deep down it feels it's infested with greed and confusion? I don't know of anyone wise enough that I can ask. Please help.
What was the very start one?
First question is, should you be compassionate and loving towards even the most deluded of beings?
Yes, I didn't mean to cut you off, but you just jogged my memory. Why not? I mean, why not be compassionate? Be more compassionate to the people that are going to suffer from the karma of what they're doing. They're doing it because they're ignorant, and so we don't pick and choose and say, I will deliver this one, I won't deliver that one because they're really nasty people or whatever. All the more so we want to eliminate that nastiness from the world. By the only way we can do it is by showing metta and karuna, loving kindness, and an interest in doing them. So this is something that Master Sheng said once. Should we allow a butcher to come to a retreat? And everybody was saying, no, 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 butcher's a killer. They kill every day. And he asked me, what do you think, Gilbert? And I just said, why not? Of all the people that would come, who most deserves to come and needs this Dharma? So we see that from a different way. Whatever you attach to here in this world, it will cause you suffering. To be a monk is one that's important to do, but it's something that you have to be very earnest in terms of how you look at it and what you're going to do in terms of preparing yourself to do that. I don't want to discourage you. If you really want to become a monk, so be it. Again, you've made your life complicated, but it doesn't mean that you can't prepare in this lifetime for a future lifetime to become a monk when your life is less complicated. There's circumstances where people have left families behind. It's not easy on the family as well. So it's not something that is there. When I realized I should have become a monk, my life was already complicated, and I couldn't make that transition. But if you can make it, I know people have had this and struggle with this in the past, and sometimes they go in and sometimes they come out. But you have to really look at it. I would suggest that you study the Dharma very, very, very deeply first to really understand where you're going with all of this, and then make a decision based on wisdom and compassion to do that. So anyway, even if you can't make it in this lifetime, just set your sights next lifetime and come back. Okay, I will finish there. And thank you all for listening, being patient for all the things. I really wanted to get this one out, especially for the people that had gone to the retreat and had gained some very, very good wisdom. Again, this is the grandmother of all the sutras, of Mahayana sutras, and it's a wonderful sutra and worth studying. And if you study it in the right way, you'll see why Mahayana became Mahayana. So that's good. So thank you again.